Thingies Lore. The Summoning. Legend has it that these creatures are as old as the great tree itself. Long before any fluffy-footed beings had begun digging their burrows on the fertile hills on the island nation now known as Fluf World, these beings emerged from the depths of the earth, gravitating to locations of great spiritual energy, so it was only natural that they would be attracted to the great tree and the vast networks of mycelium beneath it. While it has become well known that the mycelium has blessed Fluffkind with long life and a higher level of intelligence, this is just a taste of the impact bestowed upon the thingies over the estimated millennia they've spent scurrying both across and under these lands. It only makes sense then that it appears to be their life's mission to help spread the mycelium as far and wide as possible. Over the years, they appear to have formed a symbiotic bond with the mycelium, supporting its physical expansion, while it supported their cognitive expansion. How exactly it happened? No one is quite sure. But in time, the thingies actually became able to weave mycelium into their webs, expediting their ability to expand the vast network of the organic intelligence. Some believe that the thingies are able to directly plug into a collective consciousness through the mycelium network, and in some even more extreme theories are alleged to be mere agents of an overarching mycelium hive mind. One of the more peculiar features of these curious little critters, and believe me, they have many curious features, is that of their appearance. Sure, they're objectively cute as far as arachnids go, but it is their fur which is most intriguing. Every single one a unique piece of art. It was as if these intricate patterns which spread from their abdomen out across their legs were painted by the masters of old. These may be simple evolutionary traits to help define their uniqueness and attract mates, although little is currently known about how, or if they even do mate. They are regularly observed as creating what could only be perceived as art, whether it is with their own webs or whatever materials they may be able to scavenge. Thingies are prolific artists who have contributed many subtle masterpieces to the world around them. At first, these creatures were but a mere rumor, and their artistic endeavors were cause for great confusion, yet often brushed off as a figment of the imagination, often attributed to the hallucinogenic effects of too many mushrooms. As Fluffkind extended their labyrinth of the underground, however, it became inevitable that the fates of these two species would soon be forever intertwined. It was only in the year 2021, a series of experiments by the esteemed Professor Sparkinski, known to his peers simply as Sparky, triggered a chain of events we now know as the Summoning, which coaxed the thingies out of hiding for good. It was through his obsessive research into the mycelium network that he first encountered the thingies, as this professor himself recounted in his journals. It all started when one curious critter began visiting his laboratory on a regular basis. He closely observed the specimen for days as it scurried around his burrow, collecting supplies with its palps before disappearing back into a hole in the wall. During the third visit, he noted its intelligent use of tools when, while struggling to carry all the trinkets it has amassed back to its cubbyhole in one go, it collected a piece of scrap cloth which had fallen behind one of the desks and turned it into a makeshift sack. Sparky immediately set to work fashioning a small satchel from some leftover scrap leather. Upon the next visit, the professor presented this tiny satchel to his newfound friend, which was received with a joyous squeak and dance. Before long, these two had formed a strong bond, but as always, Sparky needed to know more. He needed to know what it knew, to see what it saw when it disappeared into the walls. He was determined to devise a way to communicate with this creature in its native tongue. For months he toiled away on this latest invention. It was the very pinnacle of technological development, a miniature robotic being built in the image of the thingies themselves and powered by organic energy harnessed from the mycelium network. As he finally breathed life into his creation, he stood back in wonder as the tiny mechanical creature moved its joints on its own for the very first time. His thingy companion, as curious as ever, scurried over to meet its mechanical counterpart. It raised its palps as a gesture of friendship, and the robo-thingy responded in time. They went on like this for some time, mirroring each other, while Sparky monitored his senses. Not only did this robotic creation appear to be learning from its friend at an alarming rate, it appeared that they were now successfully communicating through a series of squeaks and beeps. Disappearing into the wall, Sparky was finally able to glimpse into the realm of the thingies through the small display on which showed a direct feed from his creation. As they navigated across the rich mycelium networks, Sparky began to understand the true nature of the thingies and their relationship with mycelium. Eventually the tunnels opened up into a cavern of mycelium teeming with energy, probably not much larger than a normal burrow, but seemingly vast from a miniature's perspective. Scattered all around the cavern were thingies as far as he could see. There must have been thousands of them, all intricately patterned and humming quietly. He tuned the robo-thingy into their frequency, emanating a long, slow hum which gradually increased in intensity. The thingies reacted and began literally shaking as they hummed in unison. As the chorus finally reached its crescendo, the thingies let out a clamor of joyous squeaks before scattering off through the network of tunnels. Sparky had got his message across, a message of peace and camaraderie for all fluff kind. A new partnership had been formed between the two species, one that would last for eons to come. Meanwhile, as the rest of the Fluffles slowly stirred after the previous night's shenanigans, they awoke to find themselves welcomed by a beautiful piece of art sat in the corner of their burrow. A gift left by their new fluffy little companion.